All right. 89. We indeed, said Catullus, for I make this answer for my brother and myself, not only excuse you, but feel love and great gratitude to you for what you have done. And as we acknowledge your politeness and good nature, so we admire your learning and copious store of matter. Indeed, I think that I have reaped this benefit, that I am freed from a great mistake and relieved from that astonishment which I used always to feel, in common with many others, as to the source from which that divine power of yours in pleading was derived. For I never imagined that you had even slightly touched upon those matters of which I now perceive that you possess an exact knowledge gathered from all quarters, and which, taught by experience, you have partly corrected and partly approved. Nor have I now a less high opinion of your eloquence, while I have a far higher one of your general merit and diligence, and I am pleased at the same time that my own judgment is confirmed, inasmuch as I always laid it down as a maxim that no man can attain a character for wisdom and elegance without the greatest study, industry, and learning. But what was it that you meant when you said that we should excuse you if we knew the motive which had impelled you to this discourse? What other motive could there be but your inclination to oblige us and to satisfy the desire of these young gentlemen who have listened to you with the utmost attention? I was desirous, replied Antonius, to take away from Crassius every pretense for refusal, who would, I would sure, engage in such a kind of dissertation, either a little too modestly or too reluctantly, for I would not apply the word disdainfully to a man of his affability. But what excuse will he now be able to make that he is a person consular and censorial dignity? I might have made the same excuse. Will he plead his age? He is 4 years younger than I. Can he say that he is ignorant of these matters, of which I indeed have snatched some knowledge late in life, cursorily, and, as people say, at spare times, while he has applied to them from his youth with the most diligent study under the most able masters? I will say nothing of his genius, in which no man was ever his equal, for no one that hears me speak has so contemptible an opinion of himself as not to hope to speak better, or at least as well. But while Crassius hoped to is speaking, no one is so conceited as to have the presumption to think that he shall ever speak like him. Less persons, therefore, of so much dignity as the present company should have come to you in vain. Let us at length, Crassius, hear you speak. 90. If I should grant you, Antonius, replied Crassius, that these things are so, which, however, are far otherwise, what have you left for me this day, or for any man, that he can possibly say? For I will speak, my dearest friends, what I really think. I have often heard men of learning. Why do I say often? I should rather say sometimes, for how could I have that opportunity often, when I entered the forum quite a youth, and was never absent from it longer than during my quarters. What is that word? Quaestorship? But I have heard, as I said yesterday, both while I was at Athens, men of the greatest learning, and in Asia, that famous rhetorician Scepasius Metrodorus discoursing upon these very subjects, but no one of them ever appeared to me to have engaged in such a dissertation with greater extent of knowledge or greater penetration than our friend has shown today. But if it be otherwise, and if I thought anything had been omitted by Antonius, I should not be so unpolite, nay, so almost churlish, as to think that a trouble which I perceive to be your desire. Have you then forgotten, Crassius, said Sulpicius, that Antonius made such a division with you that he should explain the equipment and implements of the orator, and leave it to you to speak of decoration and embellishment? In the first place, rejoined Crassius, who gave Antonius leave either to make such a partition, or to choose first that part which he liked best. In the next, if I rightly comprehended what I heard with the utmost pleasure, he seemed to me to treat of both these matters in conjunction. But observe, Coda, he said nothing of the embellishments of language, or on the excellence from which eloquence derives its very name. Antonius then, said Crassius, left me nothing but words, and took the substance for himself. Well, remarked Caesar, if he has left you the more difficult part, we have reason to desire to hear you, that if that which is the easier, you have no reason to refuse. And in regard to what you said, Crassius, interposed Catullus, that if we would stay and pass the day with you here, you would comply with our wishes. Do you not think it binding on your honor? Cotta then smiled and said, I might, Crassius, excuse you, but take care that Catullus has not made it a matter of religious faith. It is a point for the censor's cognizance, and you see how disgraceful it would be for a person of sensual dignity to render himself obnoxious to such censure. Do as you please, then, said Crassius, but for the present, as it is time, I think we must rise and take some repose. In the afternoon, if it is then agreeable to you, I will say something on these points, unless perchance you may wish to put me off till tomorrow. They all replied that they were ready to hear him either at once or in the afternoon if he preferred, as soon, however, as possible. That's the end of Book 2. Book 3, next.